Animal Kingdom just an overhyped zoo? Listen to today's episode and decide for yourself.
You're listening to Castle Talk Radio. We're live on the airwaves with Becca and Jessica. Now let's jump into this week's episode.
Many of us have heard that Animal Kingdom is a half-day park or just a giant zoo. Becca, you've told us a few times, though, that Animal Kingdom is one of your favorite parks. Do you just love going to the zoo, or is there something we're missing?
Actually, not a huge fan of zoos, but I do love Animal Kingdom, and I think it all depends on your perspective. So I want everyone to listen to this episode today, and then I want them to comment and let us know their thoughts on if this is just an oversized zoo, a half-day park, or if they love it like I do.
Okay, I am open to it. Now, I have been there, and I have been there just for a half day. So let's start with the rides, because I think that's what we focused on the most when I was there. So I didn't even really get the zoo aspect of it. Give me a rundown on what kind of rides I can expect at Animal Kingdom.
Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is that Animal Kingdom is having a transformation. So we just saw a bunch of rides close, and we're going to have new rides opening, and we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. So this list is a little shorter than it will be in a couple of years, okay? But this park has one of my favorite rides in Walt Disney World, and that is Mount Everest. Expedition Everest is amazing. There's other rides here that you just aren't going to find anywhere else in the Disney parks, right? So we have Flight of Passage for Pandora and Navi River Journey. We have the Kilimanjaro Safaris, which is kind of part of the zoo part, but also it's a ride. You have now Cali River Rapids is a lot like Grizzly River Run, but and it's just very unique rides. That's what I like about it. They're not the rides you find everywhere in Disneyland. Now, they do have Dinosaur, which is currently still open, that is a lot like Indiana Jones in Disneyland. And in fact, it will be coming a new Indiana Jones ride here in the next couple of years. And then they had this little kid area that was Dinoland USA, right? That part has closed down. The carnival part is what I like to call it. It has closed down because it's making way for a new land called Tropical Americas that's coming to Animal Kingdom. So there's not a ton of rides, but there are also some perks to this, right? None of the rides are tiered. So when you go to Walt Disney World and you are making advanced lightning lanes, the biggest confusion part, which we need to do an episode on this, I think, Jessica, is that there are tiers to the rides. So the most popular rides are tier 1, and then you have the other rides, right? You can only pick one ride from tier 1 for your pre-visit choices. You don't have that at Animal Kingdom. The only one that would be considered a tier 1 is an individual lightning lane. So you don't have to worry about that. So that's kind of nice. The other thing about it is that these rides, they most of them don't get too big of waits. I mean, they're long, but they're not any longer than a general ride at Disneyland, right? You're not seeing something with a 3 or 4 hour wait. So that's what I like about that as well. But the rides are great. They are dispersed throughout the land, so you're not going to just be ride to ride to ride to ride, but they add a little something different in each area of the park.
Okay, great. So I do love the ride element, and with the zoo part, like the safari, what is it called?
The Kilimanjaro Safari.
Yes, that was so cool.
I loved
it. It's just crazy to see it. I mean, if you have not been to Africa on an African safari, and this is as close as you're going to get, the animals behave how they're going to behave. They're going to do what they want to do. And it's very exciting and neat to be up close and personal.
In fact, the time we went, we had the wildebeest stampede us.
Yeah, that was really fun. And, you're still in the safety of your tram, and it's great. And that goes right into entertainment, because that was entertaining. But there is some scheduled entertainment that is rehearsed and ready what are some of those things that we can look forward to at Disney's Animal Kingdom?
Okay, so there are two major productions at Animal Kingdom, and the one is there's the Nemo and I can't even remember. I should have had it up, the official name, but it's Finding Nemo, basically. And then the other one is the Festival of the Light. I need to look for that one.
Great.
Because I'm gonna get it wrong. It's different than the one at Disneyland. Okay. So the one they have at Walt Disney World is Festival of the Lion King. Different than the Tale of the Lion King that we had at Disneyland for a while, right? So when we went our first time to Walt Disney World together, I was going to skip Festival of the Lion King thinking, oh, we had the Tale of the Lion King. It's pretty similar. No, it's not. This is up there. It's not quite to the level of a Broadway performance, but it's a really good performance. You got acrobatics, you've got singing and dancing and puppetry and so much cool stuff going on. It's definitely a must do for me every time I go. So that one is really good. And then you have entertainment like from the countries and regions that are represented there. So drummers for the Africa area. So it's definitely worth taking a look around and enjoying. There's not a ton of entertainment, but what they have there is very unique, and I definitely would not skip it.
I love that. Another thing that I really loved and that I would consider going back for just for this is the food. Oh my goodness. Tell us about dining at Animal Kingdom, because it had one of my favorite things that I had there.
Yeah. So the best thing, and I think what you're talking about, is the canteen over in Pandora, which is delicious food. I've also eaten Harambe Market. I have not eaten at the sit-downs, and they are very highly spoken of by a lot of people. It's just we don't do a lot of sit-down restaurants, my family, when we go, and so I have not eaten at those, but I've heard such great things about them. The food is just really well prepared all throughout. Now, one thing you need to know when you're at Animal Kingdom is, I believe it's still this way, is that there are no lids or straws on the majority of drinks because you are in a zoo. Yes, zoo. It's technically a zoo. So that's just for the protection of the animals. Same with the fact that there's bathroom doors on the outside of the bathrooms at this theme park where there aren't in any other Disney park in the U.S. So yeah, I love the dining, even though I'm not a foodie, just because it's so unique, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like this would be a good park to choose a sit-down dining, especially if you're spending a full day there, that you could actually slow it down a little bit and do one of those sit-down restaurants as well. But there's also a lot of activities and things that you can do around the park to mix up the dynamic. So you have rides and entertainment and then activities.
Yeah. So one of the activities that you can do, and my family loved, and I've done it with we went on an adult girls trip and we loved it, is the Wilderness Explorers. So it's this booklet you get. So think of Up. He's a wilderness explorer, right? Russell is. So that's what you're doing. You're going around and have stations throughout the entire park where you learn a little something about conservation or our environment or animals. And that gets you a sticker. So you're earning these stickers. This is one of the few places in Disney parks that also encourage stickers because they don't usually like to give out stickers. So it's really unique. And then my kids even use that to get an autograph from Russell when we met Russell and stuff in the same book. So they have their Wilderness Explorers Handbook autographed by Russell, which is kind of cool. So that's the main activity you can do all throughout the park. But there's also, if you take Rafiki's animal, I never remember the full name, but the train that goes out to this Rafiki's animal conservation area, you can go through and you can watch vet visits that they're doing with the animals. You can see how they grow their food. This is where they have their version of the Animation Academy. They also have a little petting zoo. And there's tons of butterflies because they have the coolest butterfly garden there. So there's lots to do out there. And then all throughout the park, they just have lots of hands-on activities for you to learn about different regions and animals and what you can do for our environment.
That is so cool. And it just reminded me also of the episodes on Disney Plus called Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, where it actually goes behind the scenes and shows you really what they're doing, how they take care of these animals, the conservation efforts. And I think that's a really good prep into going into this park, is to watch some of those episodes to get you ready and get you excited, because I think that really shows how it's more than a zoo, and it's really about our earth, our environment, and everyone, everything being such a big part of it. So let's talk about the animals a little bit more. Tell us about what you can see there.
So you can see a lot of animals there, and other than Pandora and what is Dinoland, almost every area has animals in it, right? So at the front, you're going to have flamingos and otters. You get to watch the otters a little bit, all these different animals. But then you have like the gorilla trail where you're going to see silverback gorillas. You have the safari area where you're seeing giraffes, elephants, rhinos, zebras, all of those things. They have hippos that you can check out. Like, it's a lot of different animals from different regions, and they try to give them as natural a habitat as possible. Yes, it is still a zoo, but you're going to notice there's not like these large fences. Instead, they do a lot of hidden enclosures, so deep ravines, things like that. So it's not as obvious that they're in a zoo. The other thing about the animals is that they have a lot of knowledge that they give you about different animals, and like information that you may not learn at your regular zoo. Like in your normal zoo, you're going to get a lot of signs and things, but the fact that a lot of the animal observation is within like Kilimanjaro Safari, you're going to get information you probably wouldn't have otherwise stopped to take note of at a zoo. So I love that. I also love that in some of these areas, you're seeing different animals interact. So like there's the zebras and the wildebeest and the giraffes, they're all in there together. They're not separated like you would at your regular, city zoo. So it's really great. It's a lot of fun to see those animals. One thing I will say that I don't consider this a zoo is that they keep the smell pretty decent. Like, when you go to the zoo and you're like, yeah, it smells like a zoo. This is not so much that way, right? Like, I never was like, oh my gosh. Like certain enclosures, if you got really close, you could smell it, but nothing like your city zoo. That smells a lot better.
I have to agree. I mean, they have also those rooms at the Animal Kingdom Lodge that look right out into some of those enclosures or exhibits, and you open that balcony door and they're right there, and it is just incredible.
We could hear the giraffes chewing the food from our balcony when we stayed there, remember? It was crazy.
That is a memory that I will take forever because it was so beautiful and just, it really took my breath away. You talked about a new area coming to Animal Kingdom. So tell us more about what's coming and when and what we can expect in the next few years.
Yeah. So first we have one that's happening really soon. I think in the next month or two. So at the Tree of Life, which is that giant tree that's the icon of Animal Kingdom with hundreds of animals carved into it, we have It's Tough to Be a Bug, which is the same one we used to have at Disney California Adventure. That is going away. So they are bringing a new show that is Zootopia themed to that location. And that should be happening here before summer. It should be, I think it's actually like in March maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. So we have that coming. They also, again, Dinoland is going away, so that will make room for Tropical Americas. We're going to have Encanto area there. I believe they also were doing a Coco area. We're going to get a brand new Indiana Jones ride. They promise it won't be a remake of the Disneyland one. So I'm interested in this because it is basically the same track that Disneyland has. So it's all going to have to be in the theming of the story to make it different, right? And then we also will be, the one thing I'm sad we're going to lose is the boneyard where kids could go and play and dig up the fossils and all of that kind of stuff. So that will be going away, but they will have like a new carousel that's going to be in the area. So there will be things still for kids to do. It's just that larger play area is going to be gone.
Wow, it sounds like there is a lot more to do there than I saw, and
Yeah.
a lot more to do there than I thought was there.
Yeah. In
And
fact, we haven't touched on yet. I have to touch on this.
yeah,
This is the part for those fun extras that you can purchase, I think.
oh, perfect.
Because they have the trek that you can go on where you go on rope bridges over like the crocodile enclosure, and you're like going behind the scenes and getting much closer to the animals. They have this it's like something on the safari. It's like soiree on the safari or something like that, where you get
Is this
lunch.
like is this similar to like a guided tour?
Yeah, so the trek one is like a guided tour. Then they have a lunch one where you dine in the middle of the savannah and this little area that only you get to go to for this thing, right? And the giraffes are around you and stuff. And then they also have like animal encounters where you get to go and be behind the scenes with the elephants or different animals. And so there's a lot of extra things you can do. And while a lot of this may still feel like it's just a zoo to some people, it's putting all of these things, the rides, the entertainment, all of that together that makes it more than a zoo, in my opinion. And I know we also said something about being a half-day park. And one thing I want to point out is Animal Kingdom is not open the same amount of hours as everywhere else. So while you may feel you can't spend a whole day there, it closes usually around 6. So you're looking at an 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. park, and you still can technically go to another park after that. So I personally think it is worth the full day at Animal Kingdom. I'm always sad when I say it's time to leave, usually because it started raining. We end up leaving. But I love the park. I think it's definitely worth the full day. And then you can still go to another park afterwards if you want to.
That's so cool. I love that. Now, if you're looking to head to Walt Disney World, our friends at Getaway Today can help you. You can go to getawaytoday.com/Castle Talk. That's one word, Castle Talk. And you can browse packages right online for Disney World, for Disneyland. You can even check out cruises and all kinds of things for travel around the world. And of course, you can call 855-GETAWAY and mention Castle Talk Radio for personalized assistance right over the phone. It's really easy and we love using them, and we hope that you will get started planning your vacation wherever it takes you to Disney theme parks around the world.